Hello everyone, this is Weather coming at you with another update. In this update, we're going to be talking about a major winter storm that's going to be bringing some heavy snow and a nor'easter. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the overall watches and warnings map as of this morning, Thursday, the 28th. You can see we're still under a winter weather advisories for Virginia into the Carolinas, where I think Virginia picked up like 3 inches already from the system, in places like Bluefield, like 8 inches. So that will continue moving off the East Coast. But back behind it, we got a West Coast situation to work with too, because we've got some, kind of feast to famine out there. Some flood watches are taking place along the coast into Los Angeles and to San Diego for today and tomorrow. They could easily pick up 2 to 3 inches in those locations, and some very heavy snow taking place in the interior regions into the mountains, where they just got treacherous travel, avalanches, some very heavy rain, snow, very heavy snow, and that will just continue pushing off to the east, leaving behind like 5 feet of snow over the next several days in those mountain regions. So let's take a look at the surface map and what it looks like this morning for Thursday. You can see that low pressure will continue moving off the east. This snow will die down, as we go throughout the day on Thursday. But then we have that trough we're working with out west. That's going to bring the very heavy rain along the coast, going into San Diego, going into Los Angeles. That will continue moving across, dumping some very heavy snow into the mountain regions, getting into portions of Idaho, and this will eventually dive down into the Four Corners regions by Saturday morning, so dumping some very heavy snow by then. Out ahead of it, we'll have rain start to develop on the south side, setting the stage for our next setup. By Saturday morning. You can see the setup. Here's the freezing line out ahead of this event. So this freezing temperatures dives all the way down in the southeast. So there's going to be plenty of cold air to work with already out ahead of this system as this continues moving across into the Ohio Valley, eventually getting into the northeast. By Saturday morning, you can see that Arctic air starting to press, and this is the coldest air of the season. We'll have some below zero temperatures in the interior regions, but even along the coast, some single digit lows. This is a very impressive cold shot, and even teens and white and 20s down in the Ohio Valley. So there's going to be plenty of cold air to work with as this continues moving across. And as it continues moving across, it'll be all rain overnight on Saturday, getting into Missouri. But then we'll have that transition line. We'll start having some more snow, where they just picked up a lot of snow just in the last couple of days in Iowa. You've got more on the table coming for this weekend, and it'll be Iowa getting into central and southern Minnesota. This will extend into Wisconsin, and it'll extend into Illinois, as well as this low continues moving across to the east. And as it continues moving across to the east, by Sunday morning, that is the transition day. So you can kind of see it depicted here. So we'll have some very heavy snow setting up along like places like Chicago, northern Indiana, getting into Ohio. But look at you'll have what they call a cold air damming event. We'll have a lot of Arctic air in place as this warm front continues trying to lift up from the southwest. It'll be blocked by a high pressure up to the north. And you can see it already kind of feeling the effects of it as this cold air damming presses colder air down on the backside of the Appalachians Mountain on the east side. And that will kind of set the stage for what could possibly be a Miller Type B setup for this weekend for a nor'easter. So let me kind of walk you through this. So here's out ahead of it. Here's by Sunday morning. You can see that those Arctic temperatures are going to be well in place, even colder by then from Saturday night, just negative below zero temperatures in these regions. So there's going to be a lot of cold air to work with for this system. Now here's in the upper levels. As this low continues pushing across, it'll be met by this west base NAO, this ridge that's locked in place. And then we have a 50-50 low out here into the northeast. And that will help propel this system and keep it from going further north, and kind of block it and put on the brakes, and will traverse eventually off into off to the coastal regions off for Virginia, and then we have a sharpening ridge on the backside, and that will even help deepen this area of low pressure off the coast and set up our Miller type B setup. You can kind of see the graph here and how this is going to play out. We've got the developing low pressure that's going to traverse across the Ohio Valley. This parent low over time will fade. And once this fades, this will set up shop for another low that's going to be developing over to the Virginia beach area. And that could create maybe kind of a stalling mechanism at some point, dumping some very heavy snow as this low deepens, and then it'll be pulled up by that 50-50 low eventually like a magnet. And on the backside, man, you've got some very heavy snow breaking out in the Northeast. So this is your classic Miller type B setup coming for the Northeast, early next week. And you can kind of see this play out at the surface by Sunday afternoon as this continues. The warm front continues trying to lift up to the Northeast. It gets pulled in kind of like a blocking pattern. It just kind of runs into a block from that ridge up to the north and that 50-50 low out to the northeast, and you can see it. I mean, it's going to have a very difficult time to move it even any further than what it is right now. And as that cold air damming comes in east of the Appalachians, dumping some very heavy snow, getting into portions of, probably like Washington, D.C. by then, Baltimore into Maryland. And then as this low continues moving across, it'll deepen. I mean, look at this. I mean, the low fades, right? As it fades, it pulls snow on the backside, still dumping some heavy snow into Indiana, Ohio, getting into Pennsylvania, going into New York by then, getting into Maryland, Baltimore, places like Washington D.C. by then. But as this low gets off the coast, it'll really start to deepen, and at some point it could even kind of stall out or have very low steering currents. And I do feel that's where we're going to be really setting up some very heavy snow somewhere in this region by the time we get into Monday from this particular event. So as this continues moving across, you can see the low will start getting pulled to the north eventually from this 50-50 low. But it'll still dump some very heavy snow on the backside, traversing along the coast. So this could be a big event over a long duration time span, dumping into the Ohio Valley, getting into West Virginia, going into Pennsylvania, going into New York by then. And this will continue lifting off into the Northeast. This is overnight on Monday going into Tuesday morning. You can see it's really starting to take shape. I mean, these isobars really start to tighten up. That means the winds really start to pick up as this low gets further inland to the coast, dumping some very heavy snow over portions of Pennsylvania. I mean, these areas right here could pick up easily double-digit totals, if not more. I mean, this is definitely a big event coming up for the Northeast. And like I mentioned, as this low continues moving off into the Northeast, yeah, we could have some high winds to deal with. I mean, this is over a 6-hour time span. By Monday night, I think that's when it's going to really be up along the coast, getting into Jersey, getting into Delaware, going up the coastline, New York City, Long Island, all these coastal regions could pick up some very windy conditions by then. 40, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts could be on the table for you guys moving up as this moves up along the coast. I mean, you can see up above on the 500 millibar pattern by then, that low will set up shop, over Virginia. I mean, once it sets up shop, like I mentioned, it's going to get blocked from that ridge to the north. It's going to get blocked by that 50-50 low. And there's a period of time it definitely could stall out or have very low steering currents from this particular setup, and that'll just set the stage for some very heavy snow over that 24 to 48 hour time span from, say, Monday going into Tuesday for the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast. And this will continue as we kind of zoom in by Tuesday. You can see this low is still hanging off the coast, dumping some very heavy snow starting to get a little bit more inland by then, but still some healthy totals as this continues moving across. And this is into Wednesday. So, I mean, we're talking, I mean, this was like, you know, we're talking Saturday, it's into the Ohio Valley. And then over here by Wednesday, it's just off the Northeast coast. So this is not going anywhere in any fast period of time as this just continues moving up to the Northeast, dumping some heavier snows now further inland by overnight on Tuesday. And as we get into the day on Wednesday, it's still going to be hanging around. So this is a long duration event, dumping some heavier snows by then on the backside in places further north, getting into Maine. But there's going to be a lot of snow from this particular system. Here's the latest European model. It has the little bit lighter amounts into the Ohio Valley with that first initial low. So what lighter amounts is all relative with this system. A good 6 to 10 inch swath is easily on the table from anywhere from Iowa to northern Illinois, getting into Indiana, going into Ohio from this system. But where this low kind of stalls out, we could easily pick up double-digit totals, if not 20-inch plus totals, somewhere in this region as this low gets kind of trapped. And still, then it will start progressing northeast. So, and as it progresses northeast, we're still dumping some very, you know, healthy totals into the northeast. So this is a huge area that's going to be inundated from this event. I mean, you can see the snowfall totals out here in the northwest as well. And we also might have an ice component too. As this low gets trapped, we'll have that transition zone. So I do feel there could be a potential ice threat for northern portions of getting into northern portions of the Carolinas, going into the Virginia valleys, getting into parts of West Virginia where they kind of have that transition snow where that warm front meets cold air to the top. And we're going to have that kind of overriding conditions where we could set the stage for more of a freezing rain event and then all snow for a little further to the north. But look at that. There's the latest, European model again. But here's the blend of all the models showing you, not just the Euro, but kind of all the models. And this will change over time, but at least it gives you a certain scenario and how this event going to play out. It's still depicting where that Miller Type B setup would be, basically along the mid-Atlantic, getting into the Northeast, dumping some heavy snow totals coming up for the Northeast for this event. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.